Just a few questions. I know we don't have very long, but we would like to get a few here. Looking ahead 3 to 5 years from now, what do you think will be the greatest challenge that CEOs and leaders face?
My prediction is retention of talent. And, because we can talk a lot about technology, I think we're just getting started with technology in terms of AI and machine learning. I think that's going to be just something that, I don't want to say consumes us, but just becomes the first and foremost in everything we do. But technology aside, I think it's more of the people to handle it. I think generations are largely different between boomers and Xers and millennials. I do think that millennials do jump around more in terms of jobs. We've seen that, but I think that's because of the need for meaningful work, not mundane work. So the challenge for the CEOs, in my opinion, is how are you going to simplify the work, right, so they can focus on what's meaningful. That, as a cycle, then will let the people that want to stay there stay. It's retention of talent that's going to be hard.
Okay. What is a company that you consider to be truly innovative and why?
Ah, my gosh, truly innovative and why? Well, it's funny because I brought up agriculture, and I like John Deere. I really like a lot of the things that they're doing there in terms of how they're revolutionizing farming, not just in terms of equipment, but embedding technology. Like helping the farmers, which is an incredibly, incredibly difficult job and work, to get higher yields, to make their job easier, to make their lives better. So John Deere would be one. And the other ones I will tell you is I really do like some of the startup technology firms that are helping us connect our home and getting more control for what we can do in our lives. And I think that there's a million of those, and that's really something that you're going to start to see proliferate and become in the forefront even more.
Do you have an individual that you would consider to be your favorite innovator?
My favorite innovator? Well, truth be told, I really like Musk. I love Tesla. I really do. And I have a secret dream when I talk about Branson. I do want to go into space. Before I die, I do want to go into space and take my family with me. So that's a personal thing I want to do, and I like Branson and how he takes risks.
Great. What is the greatest impediment to change in a company?
You. If you want me to be blunt, it's funny, whenever I talk to leaders, they say, what's the biggest barrier to leading change? And I say leadership. People want the permission to be able to do it. Trust me, if my team was sitting here, they would look at me and be like, you're the biggest problem. Right? It's human behavior. So a lot of things that we don't realize are, and when I say you, I mean leaders giving people permission, but I mean you as humans and individuals. What we found with change and what we found with simplicity is people always think the other person's the problem. No one thinks that they create the barrier to change or they create the complexity. But usually the biggest things that create complexity or barriers to change in organizations are individual things. Their risk, their fear, their power, control. That's why you create one more report. That's why you need one more meeting just to be safe. And you say that you're not doing it. Yours is important versus everyone else's. But this is how it happens. So really understanding your acceptance of risk and power, and that will really go a long way in terms of changing organizations.
What would your advice be for electric co-ops on making innovative changes tangible and part of our day-to-day operations?
Well, two things. First of all, I like the idea of simplification, because I think when you have an industry that has a lot of heritage and legacy, there's a lot of things that we don't revisit very often. And so maybe some of the rules and the ways that you operate were very important, but maybe they've outlived their time. So I think getting this simplicity as a habit and getting rid of things, reports, meetings, emails, those behaviors will really go a long way in terms of creating space. And one of the most powerful things I think you can do is kill stupid rules. Because people change behavior when they see results. So you can talk about change and you can talk about innovation, but until you really give them the mandate that it's okay to get rid of something and that you actually do it, they're not going to change their behavior. So you could start with some of those things.
Okay. Certainly today with social media, we have a different generation. Just wondering, do you think that we're spawning a generation of social introverts?
Well, you know what's really interesting? They say that yes, some of the research is showing that it's true. Another thing that's interesting, how many people here, just by show of hands, have an Amazon Echo or an Alexa in their home? So there's a big body of research right now that they're worrying it's deteriorating our manners because we're becoming barking orders versus saying please. You notice that? Alexa, tell me the weather. Alexa, put this on my list. And I'm actually having to say to my kids, when you talk to Alexa, can you say please, right? Alexa, please put this on the list, because this is behavior. So I think it's creating two things. I think it's creating a lot of self-centeredness Like, do this for me. I'm important. I'm not thinking about your feelings, because we think about it as electronic, and it's distancing us from people. Introverts, I don't know. There was a great article in HBR in February that was talking about technology. Is it helping us or hurting us? And the answer was yes. It depends on how you use it, right? It helps me a lot, but it also hurts me. Like, why before I was going on stage am I sitting there, and I am telling you, every bone in my body was saying, don't check Facebook, don't check Facebook, don't check Facebook, right? Because I wanted to see what was going on with the elections, with my friends, and I wanted to go on the different news channels, but it becomes addictive. So I don't know if it's introverts as much as it's creating an addiction, and how that will play out, I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we get that nervous reaction. I haven't looked at my email lately or my phone or whatever, and it just becomes part of what we do.
Yeah, it's a
How do you recommend that we as co-op leaders stay on top of trends and innovations? How do we recognize what's truly a change and sort out what's not?
So, I mean, a couple things. You can just do this personally. This is fun, actually. I have one client that does a 10 by 10, one day a month. He blocks out his calendar until 10 o'clock. He has his assistant do it. He's in a meeting until then. And he has to check out 10 new things before 10 o'clock. That can be 10 new sites, look at 10 new trends, but it forces him just to expand his mind a little bit. I also tell people to get out and have lunch with somebody who has nothing to do with your job. That's really interesting, because I think we're creatures of habit, and we tend to go to the same places, drive the same route, meet with the same people. So meet with somebody new. The other thing I'll say is start to subscribe, whether it's e-newsletters or to magazines, to something that is a passion or a hobby for you, and see how you can connect that to your job. That's how really good thinking happens, is when you connect something you're passionate about to a completely different dot.
Lisa, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for the great thoughts, and
Thank
we wish you the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Really fun. Okay. Thank you, everybody.